A quiet morning had begun in Burkina Faso. President Ibrahim Traoré was lost in thought inside the convoy heading toward Gorom, one of the country's poorest regions. The journey was planned as an official visit, opening a new well, inspecting a school construction. But Traoré's heart was filled with entirely different emotions. Gorom wasn't just a village to him, it was where the greatest pain of his life had occurred. 15 years ago, his little brother Musa had disappeared there. "Mr. President, we're approaching," said his assistant Marie, interrupting Traoré's thoughts. "Local officials will meet us at the village entrance." Traoré nodded but didn't respond. He looked out the window, his eyes scanning the arid landscape. This northern region of Burkina Faso had always been known for its harsh conditions. Drought, poverty, security issues. Things weren't different 15 years ago either. Musa was 14 then. They had come to visit relatives staying in the village. One day, he suddenly vanished. All searches had been fruitless. "I never got to mourn him properly," Traoré thought. Back then, he was a young soldier who had personally participated in the search efforts. For months, they had looked under every stone, followed every lead, but found no trace of Musa. Eventually, the search was officially ended, but the pain in Traoré's heart never subsided. As the convoy approached the village, Traoré's heart began to beat faster. He had sworn never to return to Gorom, but now, as the country's leader, he couldn't escape. He had to fulfill his duty. At the village entrance, as expected, local officials and villagers had gathered. Women in colorful dresses were dancing, men playing traditional drums. Children were waving, holding Burkina Faso flags. When Traoré stepped out of his car, the crowd erupted in cheers. Village Chief Abdoulaye Diallo approached with a broad smile. "Welcome, Mr. President. Gorom is honored to host you." Traoré tried to smile, but his eyes constantly scanned the surroundings. The village had changed. New buildings had been constructed, roads improved. But some details remained the same. The large baobab tree, the old well, the stone mosque. "Thank you, Chief Diallo," said Traoré. "I'm happy to see the development of your village." When the formal welcome ceremony ended, the planned program began. Traoré examined the newly opened well, visited the village school, met with local farmers. With each step, each speech, he tried to fulfill his duty, but his mind kept drifting to the past. At noon, a feast was given for Traoré and his team in the village square. Traditional foods were served, accompanied by music and dance. Traoré tried to appreciate this feast given in his honor, but he kept examining the faces around him, as if he hoped to see his brother. During the meal, Marie approached him. "Mr. President, Chief Diallo wishes to speak with you privately. He says it's an important matter." Traoré frowned. "What's it about?" "He didn't say, sir. Just indicated it was very important." Traoré thought for a moment, then nodded. "All right, I'll meet with him before the school visit this afternoon." When the feast ended, Traoré was led to Chief Diallo's house. It was a simple but clean home, its walls decorated with traditional Burkina Faso motifs. Diallo greeted Traoré at the door. There was a strange expression on his face, somewhat nervous, somewhat excited. "Mr. President, thank you for coming. Please enter." When Traoré entered, he noticed an elderly woman sitting alone in the room. She must have been at least 80 years old. Her face was deeply wrinkled, but her eyes were sharp and intelligent. "This is Grandmother Fatoumata," said Diallo, "one of the oldest and most respected people in our village. She specifically requested to speak with you." Grandmother Fatoumata rose with labored movements and approached Traoré. There was a look of recognition in her eyes. "You've finally come," she said in a trembling voice. "I've been waiting for you for years, Ibrahim." Traoré was surprised. How did this old woman know him? And what had she been waiting for? "Sit down, my child," said Fatoumata, indicating a chair. "I have things to tell you." Diallo quietly left, leaving Traoré and the old woman alone. Traoré sat across from her, curious but also apprehensive. "Do I know you, Grandmother Fatoumata?" Traoré asked. The old woman smiled slightly. No, but I know you. Everyone knows President Traoré. Also, I knew your brother, Musa. Traoré's heart seemed to stop. He looked into the woman's eyes, unable to speak. 15 years ago, little Musa came to this village, didn't he? Fatoumata continued. And then he disappeared, without a trace. Yes, said Traoré in a hoarse voice. We never learned what happened. Fatoumata took a deep breath. Because nobody knew the truth, my child, only me, and a few others. What do you mean? Traoré's voice was trembling now. Do you know something about Musa? The old woman walked to an old chest in the corner of the room and pulled out a small box. She handed the box to Traoré. Look at this first. Traoré opened the box. Inside were a faded photograph and a small necklace. The photograph was one of the last pictures taken of Musa. And the necklace. Traoré's eyes welled up. This was the necklace his mother had given to Musa. It bore the family crest. These are Musa's, said Traoré in astonishment. How do you have these? Fatoumata sat again, looking tired. 15 years ago, our village was very different, Ibrahim. Gangs, smugglers controlled this region. Our village was on their transit route. Traoré nodded. The security issues in the region were known back then too. That day, Fatoumata continued, Musa was wandering outside the village, by the riverbank. At that time, smugglers were making a shipment. Musa saw them. Traoré's stomach clenched. Had his worst fear come true? They took him, said Fatoumata, but they didn't kill him. I want you to know this. What did they do to him? Asked Traoré, his voice now barely a whisper. They took him with them. Back then, they would take children and train them to use as couriers, lookouts. Musa became one of them. Traoré's world had collapsed. His brother had fallen into the hands of smugglers. Where is he now? Is he alive? Fatoumata nodded. I don't know this for certain, but the last I heard, he was near the Mali border. He's not a child anymore, of course, he's a man now, and he took a new name. Bakari Sidibé. Bakari Sidibé. Traoré repeated the name. He had never heard. Why are you sharing this information now, Grandmother Fatoumata? Asked Traoré. Why did you wait 15 years? The old woman looked sad. I was afraid, my child. Those gangs were very powerful. They would kill anyone who talked. But now you've become president. And I've grown very old. I'm not afraid of death. But I didn't want to take this secret to my grave. Traoré looked at the items in his hand. The photograph, the necklace, the last mementos of his brother. How did you get these items? When they took Musa away, he dropped this, said Fatoumata, pointing at the necklace. The photograph. A few years later, a man from the gang came to the village. He was drunk. He talked about Musa, showed his picture, said he had become a successful operative. I stole that photograph. Traoré stood up and began pacing the room. 1,000 thoughts were spinning in his mind. His brother was alive, as a member of a criminal organization, but alive. Mr. President, said Fatoumata, what will you do? Traoré stopped, turning to the woman with a determined expression. I'll find him, Grandmother Fatoumata. I'll bring my brother back. 2 days later, Traoré returned to Ouagadougou. He had completed his official program, but came back with an entirely different plan in mind. He immediately summoned his intelligence chief. General Zungrana, said Traoré, I'll ask a special task of you. It must be completely confidential. General Zungrana was an experienced soldier in his 50s. At your command, Mr. President. I want you to investigate someone named Bakary Sidibé, someone operating near the Mali border, likely involved in smuggling, drug trafficking. The general raised his eyebrows. Do you have a special interest in this person? Traoré hesitated for a moment, then made his decision. This person might be my brother Musa. The general's eyes widened. Musa? But No, he didn't die, said Traoré. At least it seems that way. I gained new information in Gorom Gorom. Bakari Sidibe might be the new name Musa took. I need to confirm this. General Zungrana nodded. I understand, Mr. President. We'll begin investigating immediately, but what will we do if we find him? First, we'll assess the situation, said Traoré. We won't bring him by force. First, arrange for him to speak with me. After that, we'll see. As the general left the room, Traoré turned to the window. The pain he had carried for years had now been replaced by complex emotions. Hope, fear, curiosity. Musa, he whispered. Where are you? 3 weeks passed. Traoré received daily reports from General Zungrana. Intelligence teams were looking under every stone near the Mali border. Bits of information about Bakari Sidibe were being collected. A man in his 30s, an important member of the smuggling network in the region, known to be intelligent and ruthless. Finally, one day General Zungrana came in with excitement. Mr. President, we found him. In a town in the Kidal region of Mali. We got images of him. Traoré's heart raced. Show me. The general handed over a tablet. On the screen were photographs of a man, in his 30s, tall, thin. As soon as he looked at the face, Traoré's breath caught. This was Musa. He had changed, matured, but he would recognize those eyes anywhere, his mother's eyes. Yes, it's him, said Traoré, his voice trembling. Yes, it's him, said Traoré, his voice trembling. My brother. General Zungrana nodded. What do you want us to do, Mr. President? We can organize an operation, but this could create an international crisis. Traoré thought. No, I don't want an operation. I want to talk to him, send him a message, tell him I want to meet his 2 brothers in a secure location. What if he refuses? Then, Traoré took a deep breath. Then we'll think of another plan. Another week passed. Bakari Sidibe, or Musa, had received the message. His response came unexpectedly quickly. Okay, let's meet in a neutral zone at the Burkina Faso-Mali border. I'll come alone. He should come alone too. When Traoré received this response, he was filled with mixed emotions. Musa had agreed to meet him. But this kind of meeting posed a great risk for the president of Burkina Faso. We can't do this, Mr. President, said General Zungrana. You can't endanger your security. But Traoré was determined. This is my brother, General. I've been looking for him for 15 years. I can't miss this opportunity. At least allow us to take security measures from a distance, the general insisted. Traoré finally agreed. All right, but from a distance. Musa should think he sees me alone. The day of the meeting arrived. A neutral zone at the Burkina Faso-Mali border had been chosen, an area neither country fully controlled. Traoré wore civilian clothes and only brought his personal weapon. In the distance, hidden snipers and special forces were positioned, but they were invisible. When Traoré arrived at the designated spot, he saw someone was already waiting. A tall, thin man with a mask on his face. As he approached, the man removed his mask. Traoré's heart tightened. Yes, this was Musa. Despite 15 years having passed, he would recognize those eyes. Musa, said Traoré, his voice trembling. Nobody calls me that anymore, the man said coldly. My name is Bakari. Traoré stopped, with a few meters between them. You'll always be Musa to me. My brother. Brother? Said Bakari Musa with a bitter smile. Maybe 15 years ago. Not anymore. We searched everywhere for you, said Traoré. For months. We thought you were dead. Maybe it would have been better if I had died, said Bakari. That day by the riverbank, my life ended anyway. What happened, Musa? Tell me. Bakari took a deep breath. On his face, the pain and hardness brought by years could be read. I saw the smugglers. They were carrying weapons and drugs. They noticed me. I had no choice. On either I would die or go with them. And you went with them. Yes. At first I was like a prisoner. Then I got used to it. They saw I was talented. I was a smart kid who learned quickly. They trained me. Now you work for them, said Traoré, his voice filled with sadness. Bakari nodded. Yes. This is the life I know now. I don't know any other life. You can come home, Musa, said Traoré, extending his hand. Our family, mother, father, they're still waiting for you. A bitter laugh was heard. Mother and father wouldn't recognize me. Anymore, I'm not that innocent child. My hands, they're dirty. It doesn't matter, said Traoré. You're still our family. We love you. I'm the president of Burkina Faso now. I can protect you. Bakari's eyes widened. President? I had heard rumors but didn't believe them. He remained silent for a while, then spoke again. Why are you trying so hard to find me? Just forget me. Never, said Traoré determinedly. You're my brother. I can never forget you, never give up on you. Bakari nodded. There was hesitation in his eyes. Can you forgive me? For what I've done? I don't know anything, said Traoré. And I don't want to know either. The only thing that matters to me is bringing you back. What about the people, your country? What will they say? Nobody needs to know. A new identity, a new beginning. Bakari smiled, but it was a smile full of pain. Is everything that simple? No, brother. I'm a different person now. I have a different life. Then what do you want? Asked Traoré, beginning to feel desperate. Bakari thought for a while. I don't know. Seeing you. I guess I needed that. One last time. Last? Traoré's voice had risen. No, this can't be the last. I just found you. You shouldn't have found me, said Bakari. Now go. You've become president, rule your country, forget me. No, said Traoré, taking a step closer. I'm coming with you. Bakari was surprised. What? If you won't come home, I'll go with you. You're talking nonsense, said Bakari. You're a president. I'm a brother first, said Traoré. And I didn't choose this duty, but brotherhood, that's a bond from birth. I can't give it up. Bakari looked stunned for a moment. Then, unexpectedly, he started to laugh. First softly, then stronger. Traoré watched him in astonishment. You're still the same stubborn kid, Bakari finally said. You haven't changed, Ibrahim. My soul hasn't changed, said Traoré. And I know yours hasn't either. Deep down, you're still my brother. Bakari sighed. Maybe you're right. Maybe I can give it one more chance. Traoré's eyes lit up with hope. Will you come home? I don't know, Bakari said honestly. But I'll think about it. I need some time, do you understand? Traoré nodded. I understand. Take all the time you need, but let's stay in touch. I don't want to lose you again. Bakari pulled a paper from his pocket and handed it to Traoré. This is a phone number, a secure line. You can reach me, but only in an emergency. Traoré took the paper. Thank you, Musa. I mean, Bakari. I can be Musa for you, said Bakari with a slight smile, but only between us. The brothers talked a while longer about the past family, their changing lives. Finally, it was time to part. Be careful, said Traoré. And remember, no matter what, I love you, brother. Bakari nodded. You be careful too, President brother. I think I'm a little proud of you. They said goodbye. As Traoré watched his brother's silhouette disappear into the distance, he was filled with hope and sadness. This wasn't the end, he knew. It was a new beginning. A month later, a message came to Traoré's phone. From the secure line, I've thought about it. I want to come home. A big smile spread across Traoré's face. He quickly replied, I'm waiting for you, brother. 2 weeks later at midnight, a helicopter landed at a secret military base in Burkina Faso. A single passenger disembarked, Bakari Sidibe, or Musa Traoré. The brothers embraced under the spotlights. This time, Bakari's smile was genuine. There was a light of hope in his eyes. Welcome home, brother, said Traoré, his eyes filling with tears. It's good to be home, said Bakari Musa, looking around. It's been a very long time. That night, the two brothers talked for hours. The lost years, pains, dreams. They shared everything. As dawn broke, Traoré told his brother the details of his new life, a new identity, a secure home, and slowly, a chance to reunite with his family. "What about you?" asked Bakari. "As president, how can you take such a risk?" Traoré smiled. "Some risks are worth taking, brother. And before I'm a president, I'm a human being. I'm a brother." In the following days, Musa was reunited with his family. First his parents, then his cousins. Each reunion was filled with tears and embraces. No one questioned, no one judged. They were just happy. Their lost son, their lost brother had returned home. Over time, Musa adapted to his new life. Bakari Sidibe no longer existed. In his place was Musa Diallo, introduced as a distant cousin of the president, an agricultural expert. A year later, Traoré and Musa made a secret visit to Gorom Gorom. This time, there was no official convoy, just two brothers. They visited grandmother Fatoumata, kissing her hands with gratitude. "I owe you, grandmother Fatoumata," said Traoré.